Welcome back to my channel. This is the darling. I hope you watched the previous video where we covered the 4 things we should take note of before we get into this hair journey. Today we are covering the foundation of beautiful healthy hair, and that is the scalp. And I brought out my whiteboard because this is important stuff, and I'm even on my feet today because this is serious stuff. The scalp. There are 3 things we are going to talk about today about the scalp. So today it is scalp 101. The first thing you should know about your scalp, it is where your hair grows from. All hair starts from the scalp, so we have to take note of how our scalp works. And then the next thing we should talk about when it comes to scalp is sebum. Sebum is a natural oil that our scalp produces, and this oil is good for our hair. But this oil is produced differently according to your hair type. If you have oily scalp, then you produce more sebum. If you have dry scalp, then you produce less sebum. Our sebum is what determines whether we are going to be oiling our scalp or not. An easy way to test whether you have oily scalp or dry scalp is looking at your skin, probably your face. If you have dry face, most of the time your scalp is dry as well. But if you have an oily face, most of the time your scalp is oily. But another method that is mostly foolproof is a scratch test. Taking your finger, scratching your hair, and seeing if you have dirt under hair. Wash your hair. Do not put anything on your scalp for a week. Do a scratch test and see if something comes out under your nail. Or give yourself, if there's nothing underneath there, you probably have dry scalp because sebum has not been produced yet. And then if you give yourself another 2 weeks, scratch it and see the amount of sebum there, then you'll determine if your scalp is very dry or moderately dry. That is how I check my sebum. That's how you know whether you should oil your scalp or not. The next thing we're going on to oiling your scalp. This part works well if you already know about your sebum production on your scalp. And the oiling part, if you have dry scalp, it is good. You should oil your hair, obviously. Oiling your scalp, you have to take note of 2 things. The type of oil. The another thing is the regularity. How regularly do you oil your hair? But how often do you oil your hair? Because sometimes oiling your hair regularly without a wash day or washing your hair might cause build-up, which might cause inflammation on your scalp or cause bacterial growth on your hair. I highly recommend using light oils that are not greasy. Oils like argan oil, jojoba oil, or almond oil. Those type of oils are light, and you can test it by pouring some on your skin and seeing how greasy it gets or how non-greasy it is. Then that is the best oil that you can use for your hair. And I want to clarify that when I say in between washes, I am talking about the time where you last wash your hair and then the time in between there before you go for another wash. So for me, in between my washes right now, I am in between my washes. It's been a week since I washed my hair, almost maybe a bit more than a week, a few days more than a week. So I'm saying I am in between my washes. When I wash my hair next, the time that I spent during here without washing my hair, oiling my scalp, all that is called the time in between my washes. Going off to the next thing, the washing. You have to wash your hair. Washing your hair is important, especially because we have mentioned sebum and oiling. You have to wash your hair even if you have sebum and you are not oiling your hair, because sebum buildup is also highly likely to cause inflammation as well as bacteria infestation on your scalp, which is not good for scalp health. So when washing your hair, what you have to take note of is you have to be gentle. Gentle. When I say gentle, I'm talking about how you are washing your hair. Most of the time, people are used, well, here in salons, we love it when someone is washing your hair and they actually scratch your hair like this using their um, nails, because we assume that is the cleanest way they can wash your hair. But I recommend using your finger pads, not your nails, using this because your scalp is also sensitive. Using that is called gently washing your hair. And another thing you have to be aware of is the type of shampoo you are using. The type of shampoo you are using for your hair washes. Another thing that slips out of our minds and all that while washing is how we use our deep conditioner. Here, the deep comb. We have to remember that we said the scalp needs a light surface. That's why you are not heavy on the oiling when you already have oily scalp, or when you already have sebum production. That's why you are not heavy on the oiling. And that's why you are trying to avoid oiling too much, because we do not want to clog our hair pores or our scalp. Deep conditioning is good. It is good for your hair, not the scalp. So when you are conditioning your hair, you have to take note, you have to be careful not to lather a lot of conditioner onto your scalp. Sometimes some conditioner might get into your scalp, but you have to notice that you are not intentionally putting conditioner onto your scalp. So these are the three things that you have to take note of when coming to the scalp. If you have more questions, I'm gladly willing to answer your questions. Just ask them in the comment section and I'll answer them. I'll be making more videos on the scalp because I cannot cover everything you have to know about your scalp in one video. It is some things that I might have, well, there are some things that I might have missed and some things that I might want to answer you about. So be free to ask me the question. Thank you for watching the video today. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Bye.